Hello, today we're going to be talking about different types of regulation in case, something goes wrong, which usually doesn't happen often, but does happen. Different types of problems that might occur are mutations, and double-stranded breaks of DNA. Mutations could either be somatic or germline. Somatic meaning body-wide, and germline meaning in zygotes. Um, a big repair mechanism that is discussed is a mismatch repair. DNA repair mechanism known as mismatch repair are fixing mistakes caused by DNA polymerase. These errors are caused within bases that are not correctly paired with one another. These disruptions of DNA occur in the backbones of DNA. And not allowing it to have that smooth and complex structure that it needs to be. The newly large mutated sections of DNA are cut out and use the old template to fix the errors. With the two strands of DNA, it may be difficult to identify old strands from the new strands. In this case, bacteria have methylated old strands. So they know which strands are the replicated strands. In humans, that is not the case. There is no methylation system, but it is crucial to understand how this is going on and why this mismatch repair needs to be done. It is crucial due to the fact that it's a replication issue. With replication issues come cancers, and understanding those replication issues and how to fix them allow for a new and greater understanding of how cancers arrive from division and replication problems. If you look here, you can see that this is in humans, you can see that there's a new DNA sequence that is paired, that is a G paired with a T. So that new sequence on the top row is chewed up and is replaced all over again with new DNA. Both the gaps are sealed with DNA ligase, but they are methylated, and there's not really a way to know how our human eukaryotic cells know which one is the template DNA, the old strand. Another problem that we discussed is the double-stranded breaks, and this is a cross-section cut of DNA. A few mechanisms found were homologous recombination and non-homologous recombination for fixing these types of problems. Although homologous recombination are very precise, they're very rare because there must be a similar homologous sequence of DNA that can, replace that breakage point. The DNA must be nearly and must be similar to serve as a template to allow to fix that breakage. That's like the most efficient way to fix these double strand breaks. The non-homologous recombination chews away at the broken ends to make them, similar in size and width in order to pry them together and just hope, for the best and hope that it, doesn't really kill the cell. That is like the quickest way to fix it, and it purposely like snips these pieces in order to just make sure that the cell doesn't die, because you need your DNA strands to be as rigid and as strong as possible. When we look at this chart here, we can look at the non-homologous recombination, which has the double strand break, and it begins to chew apart and give itself a well-structured place where you can just slam them together and get yourself that repaired strand. When it comes to homologous combination, it's a little more complicated than that. You have to begin with resecting those breakage points and leave a 3' end overhang. This overhang allows for the homologous sequence to come intertwined and is known as a strand invasion. Come intertwine those overhanging ends, 3' ends, to be replicated or to be base paired with. This creates a D loop, and this is what that D loop is being created here. And it will bend and allow itself to base pair and will complement as well as it can be because it is a homologous sequence from either mom or dad. And once this is done, you can ligase these base paired sequences together and have a better off chance of surviving or having those functional properties of this DNA sequence, where when it comes to the non-homologous, you don't know if you're going to get any functional properties, but you're not going to kill the cell, which is the ideal fixing point here. The next and final thing I want to talk about in this video is RNA interference. RNA interference is a mechanism used to silence genes. This process develops a double-stranded RNA and destroys single-stranded with the same sequence. Some components that you can find here are viral RNA, which is the sequences that we're trying to silence. We have a dicer, which is what allows those sequences to be chewed up and cut up. You have single-stranded RNA, which are what have been chewed up by the dicer. And using this single-stranded RNA, this RNA-induced silencing complex, it's usually called a RISC, can now, copy it and know exactly what genes are going to be, terminated. Using this RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, you can just initiate the RISC complexes even more. So when we look at this this image here, you can see that this is the sequence that this synthetic sequence that we are trying to chew up and cleave into smaller segments so that the RISC can come in and begin to complement its pairing and show the cell exactly what needs to be targeted and what needs to be silenced. It's great. This picture also shows, that this plasmid has come in and needs to be, cut up and shredded. So this dicer comes in and shreds it up, and the RISC comes and does its job and lets the cell know exactly what segments are complementary to the genes that we want to silence.